Aloha! What's up, Penn Nation? You're now tuned into yet another edition of BJPenn.com Radio, The Fighter's Voice. This is episode 106. We've got 3 awesome guests, 3 hot prospects, guys you need to keep your eyes on moving forward in this wonderful sport of mixed martial arts. And as always, I'm your host, Jay Kinch. Pleasure to be here with you each and every week. For this episode, we're going to kick things off with good friend of the show, Bellator featherweight, soon to be Bellator bantamweight, and in my personal opinion, multiple division champion within that promotion, Juan the Spaniard Archuleta. We're going to preview his showdown coming up this weekend at Bellator 210 in Thackersville, Oklahoma, against Jeremy Spoon. Another great opportunity for Juan to go out there, show the world what he's all about, and prove why he is one of the guys that certainly deserves consideration for a title shot at 145 pounds. Then next up after Juan, at the end of this first season of the PFL, one of the gentlemen involved in the final for the welterweight strap and $1 million cash prize, Ray Cooper III. We're going to preview his fight coming up on New Year's Eve, talk about the opportunity to win $1 million, how that would change his life, and a whole lot more. First time having him on the show. It was a pleasure speaking with him. And then we're going to wrap things up with UFC newcomer set to make his debut this weekend down in Adelaide, UFC Fight Night Adelaide, Jimmy the Brute Crute. We're going to preview this debut matchup for Jimmy against Paul Craig. We're going to talk about his time on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. And you'll also see yourself, or hear yourself rather, that Jimmy is oozing with confidence coming into this UFC debut. So there you have it. Like I said, 3 hot prospects, 3 guys you need to keep your eyes on going forward. This is BJPenn.com Radio. I'm your host, Jay Kinch, the fighter's voice. Let's kick things off with Juan the Spaniard Archuleta. All right, Penn Nation, please welcome back to the show, good friend of BJPenn.com Radio, set to compete at Bellator 210 this Saturday in Thackersville, Oklahoma, the man they call the Spaniard, Juan Archuleta. Pleasure as always, my friend, to have you back on the show. How you doing today, man?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm doing good. Just out here in Oklahoma, Texas border, just relaxing before I get my weight cut going tonight.
Really? So the weight cut starts tonight for you?
Yeah, it's been starting all week, but I make like the final drop tonight and then tomorrow morning.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, fight being on Friday, you're going to be weighing in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I know you were in training camp, so obviously you couldn't grub out for the holiday, but how was your Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was good. My wife always does a good job of preparing me, making sure I get to eat. And so she did a good job of preparing a good plate for me of buffalo steak and a good sweet mashed potato, and then some green beans and bacon. So it was all nice.
Sweet, man. So you did get to enjoy some holiday food, but still maintain that weight and make it a healthy meal as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Very good. So we're just days away from your return to action. You're set to take on Jeremy Spoon on Friday. First off, man, how was the camp so far overall?
It's been going good. Been training my butt off. Worked a lot with Dwayne Ludwig this fight, and then with my teammates as well, Cub Swanson, TJ Dillashaw, and just all the guys that have been helping me out. Spent a lot of time in Denver, becoming one of Dwayne Ludwig's protege now, and just spending a lot of time with them and just trying to incorporate a lot more of my Muay Thai that he's been having successful with TJ. So just trying to follow the lead and jump in line and handle business.
Interesting, man. Now, obviously, I know everybody at the training lab over there. You guys are working with killers working with killers, and of course Sam Calvita. But I know Dwayne gets down there as well. But you actually went out to Colorado. How many weeks were you there?
Yeah, because TJ was doing a lot of his belt promotion and promoting the UFC stuff. So I would fly out to Dwayne, spending 2 weeks out there at a time with them. And then, yeah, like you said, with Sam Calavita, in between picking the right times to go out there that wasn't going to hamper my, my peaking ability. But, I spent about a good 4 weeks with them before my fight camp was 3 weeks out. So.
Awesome, man. Now, obviously, we've seen what he's accomplished with TJ and all these other guys. I know he's worked with you in the past, but I'd imagine you're feeling real sharp right now working with Dwayne.
Yeah, man, he's just a wizard when it comes to putting things together for me and adapting to my style and letting myself still be me, and then adding on to his curriculum that he has into it. So it's just a pleasure working with a guy like that. You know, same thing. It's like, you know, I get to work out, I get to train with Joe Daddy Stevenson, Dwayne Ludwig, Cub Swanson, and TJ Dillashaw, man. I mean, I've really grown a liking to all of them and incorporating all their styles into one. And, you know, it's just so much confidence going into this fight, leading into it, that no matter where the fight goes, I'm going to be dominant no matter what.
Well, you've always been incredibly well-rounded, but I can only imagine that the gains keep coming, man, as you continue to work with all these great coaches. But, you know, we mentioned Sam Calvita. You know, you mentioned Dwayne being a wizard. The physical wizard, of course, is Sam Calvita. I'd imagine he has you in unbelievable shape, I'm sure. What's your resting heart rate right now?
Oh, man, it probably gets down to, you know, I want to say low 40s, high 30s, you know.
Wow. Wow.
During my nighttime sleep.
Wow. Now, I know it's cliche in this business, but I feel as though all you guys that work with Sam, your best training camp really is, I mean, your most recent training camp really is your best one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's born for peak performance. You know, it's just the more you spend time working out with them, the better you're obviously going to get. And me, I don't stop training. You know, I'm one of those guys that has to be training all the time. So I'm always advancing and always growing with them and putting up new numbers. You know, and some numbers that we put up that were personal records for me. You know, they're just, you know, Sam's unbelievable. You know, just bewildered by the numbers that I'm putting up. So it's cool to see when he gets excited like that. It means I'm doing my part right, you know? Absolutely,
and that's always important, right? Not to plateau. Beating your own PRs, that's a big deal.
Yeah, heck yeah. Especially when I already have such a high standard, you know, and I already started out so high at my camp.
Right, right. Now, so Jeremy Spoon.
That's nice.
So Jeremy Spoon, he's coming over from the RFA for this fight. He's not well known by the casual fan, but what can you tell us about your opponent? Give us your thoughts on the matchup.
Yeah, when they told me that's who I was fighting, I was like, heck yeah. You know, I always get excited when they try to put me to the test. You know, this guy's 21-4, veteran in the sport. You know, is a well-rounded guy, and you know, watch some film on him, and you know, he brings it. Definitely on paper has a bigger pedigree than I do as far as wrestling, and a better wrestler as me, and you know, just been longer in the sport than me and fought some good name guys. So I'm looking forward to going out there and demonstrating again a perfectly well executed game plan, and you know, perfecting a flawless victory and just having fun out there and putting on the show for my fans.
Now, Jeremy's taking this fight in his backyard of you know, being an Oklahoma native. Obviously, that puts a lot of pressure on him to win, but I'd imagine you have no problem going out there, showing up to spoil the party, right?
Absolutely, especially in Oklahoma. You know, we always got riled up when we wrestled OU boys, Oklahoma State guys, and you know, going into someone's backyard and putting a hurting on them is always fun.
So there's a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a grudge match here, but you got some history with Oklahoma in this one.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm one of my last matches I've lost to Oklahoma State guy, Jamal Parks, and you know, just left a sour taste in my mouth. I definitely don't want that to happen again. So trained my ass off to go in there and put this guy to sleep.
All right. Now, last time we spoke, you'd said that you were looking for a big matchup. How did you end up getting, you know, booked against Spoon? Is this the only guy that was available, or is Bellator taking their time to build you up towards that title shot?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think I got to, you know, I think with the win on this is going to solidify my title run for 145. You know, this, you know, the Pitbull, he's in a good spot right now. He gets to pick between AJ McKee, Aaron Pico, Darian Caldwell, myself, and a few others that are in the lineup. You know, I feel after this fight, I want to go down to 35 and just win a good fight there and solidify myself for 135. Just in case if I don't get this 45 title fight, I could definitely go down to 35, win a fight, show them that I'm capable of doing that, and put my name in the hat for both drawings.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, you had also mentioned to me the last time we spoke that you wanted to go after Darian Caldwell. That seemed to be the thing that was on your plate for the next move. But, you know, here we are at 145 again. It sounds like the original plan changed a bit, but you are just trying to solidify yourself in both weight divisions as a title contender.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it makes it more marketable, and just to show people, you know, should I even go up to 55, and you know, if I don't get a title fight here soon, to go up and just make some noise there too, just to say, hey man, I could do any weight class. Just let me know who wants me to step in. You know, who's going to accept that fight.
Right. Now, are you happy to have that gradual build up, or would you rather be competing for the title now?
I like the gradual build up because, you know, there's no question. You know, when you come to a new organization like I did, there was a question of like, well, how legit is it? You know, like how good is the guy coming out? It's like college. How good is a guy coming out of high school? The guys that I coached at in high school at St. John Bosco, the Valencia brothers, they were like, oh, how good are these boys when they get into college? And they proved their worth. You know, so I come from a sport that you have to prove your worth, and that's what I've been doing. And you know, I'm no stranger to taking shortcuts. You know, I've never done it in my career. That's why I'm at where I am now. So I don't mind the build up. You know, it makes it for all the sweeter.
Right, right. Well, I feel like maybe Coker and the Bellator team, maybe they want to get you as much airtime as possible before that title shot, so they can bill you as the next big star in the promotion. Does it seem that way to you at all?
Yeah, I hope so. You know, I know they just signed that deal with DAZN, and you know, they got a lot of European fights they got coming up next year. So I'm hoping to be a part of that, and looking to be one of those guys that they're taking across the ocean to go show these other European guys how to fight.
And it's not like you don't have a history fighting over there in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. Fighting in Lithuania before, so I'm down for wherever they want to put me. I'm excited to go out there and put a performance everywhere I go. I got fans everywhere. I got a lot of fans coming out here to support me and watch the fight. So I'm stoked either way.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
I got a good gathering that comes out, and a good supporting group that comes out and supports me, you know?
Oh, that's good, man. Obviously, they're well-informed and intelligent fans to be hopping on the train with you now, brother. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Since the beginning, you know, they have all been part. Everyone that I have around me has always been part since the beginning, you know?
Right. That's so important these days, too. You got to stay loyal to those people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, obviously, your eyes are on Caldwell, Patricio. There's some uncertainty there, but are you still gunning for multiple titles? You want to be a champ?
Absolutely, and you know, that's my legacy to be. You know, I'm looking even to be a triple champ. You know, it's just one fight at a time, and you know, and who knows, maybe if Caldwell gets the fight at 45, he relinquishes about at 35. I might not fight him. You know, whoever has that title when I get down there, I want to fight them for sure, though.
Right, right. So
whether it be Caldwell or someone else, you know.
Yeah. So after Friday, what's next for you is going down to 135. That is the plan, unless a big fight gets offered to you at featherweight.
Yes. If Patricio, or I mean, if Pitbull, says, hey, I want to fight Juan Archuleta, let's do it. But if not, and he takes AJ McKee or Darian, I feel like Darian's proven himself at both weight classes as well, you know, and I feel like he has the right to the title shot first. But hey, I can't help it if the guy calls me out and says, hey, I want to defend my title against that guy, against the toughest guy on the roster, then by all means, let's do it. But if he takes the other route and goes the other route with the other guys, I'm going down to 35, and I'm going to solidify my title shot for 35. Right. And I'm gonna do it in my backyard too. I'm gonna go make sure everything goes good with this fight, and then I'm looking to do a turnaround and get onto the LA card.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Refresh my memory. When is that one?
That is January 26th.
So you're comfortable with that quick of a turnaround? I know you're always in shape, but I mean, assuming you come out of this fight uninjured, that's totally realistic for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I fought in 7 times, all title fights in 1 year before, you know, so, and signing with them, I told them that's what I wanted to do, you know, so right. It's definitely realistic. It's definitely in my sights. I'm always training. I got a great team around me that keeps me prepared, and I'm ready to, you know, step up to the plate.
Absolutely, absolutely. So changing gears here, man, you mentioned your teammates. You know, I got to ask about them, of course. First with Aaron Pico, man. Dude is a stud. Continues to level guys. What do you think about his upcoming matchup against Henry Corrales?
Oh man, both those guys are just heavy hitters. I'm actually super excited for that fight. Aaron Pico's a young stud that comes up, and when he hits you, he knows that he lets you know that he's going to hit you. So he's he's the type of guy that you got to take him out to beat him. You got to pretty much kill the guy to beat him. So I'm excited. He's getting better. He's getting comfortable. He's finding his stride. He's finding his style. So going into there and fighting Henry is going to be no easy task for him at all. But it's going to be an exciting match. It's going to be like it's going to be like the old school boxing days when you get those good two Mexican guys that go in there and slug it out. I think that's what it's going to look like come January 26th for those two.
Yeah, definitely an exciting matchup. Seems to me like you and Aaron are going to be running the show at Bellator soon.
That's the plan, man. I definitely, and that's another reason why I want to drop down to 35 and go get that title. Well, he's on his title run right now, and he's right there. If it would have looked like it was going to be a little longer, I wouldn't have mind staying. But we're teammates. I want to step out of his way so he can make his noise, and him take the driver's seat from there and see where he wants to go with it, and me drop down to 35 and make some noise and bring 2 belts home, same organization for Coach Cal.
Man, I'll tell you, that only lends itself to the kind of guy and teammate you are, man. So I'm sure that Aaron is very appreciative of that.
Oh yeah.
But in regards to your good friend TJ Dillashaw, give us your thoughts on his opportunity to become a champ against Henry Cejudo. What do you think of that matchup?
Oh, it's always been in our sights. Anyone that signs with us, I mean, especially with or not signs with us, but trains with us in the Treigning Lab, we have one vision on our mind, and that's to go out there and make history and win titles and let people know that you could do it at any division you want training with Coach Cal, because it's mathematically figured out. You're not killing yourself making a weight. You're not, we're doing it professionally and, the healthiest way we can. And we're proving it, going multiple weight classes, grabbing multiple titles, and let everyone know that we're the best in the world, and that we're here to stay. We're here to make noise. And this is the new breed of MMA.
Right, yeah. You know what? You mentioned new breed, man. Is there going to be any shots of you with some crazy heart monitors on for this fight?
Coach Cal unfortunately can't come out, so TJ and Cub are going to run the show. Sorry, I had a cough. They're going to be running the show for Coach Cal and giving them the numbers. So I definitely will probably have a heart rate monitor on, and they're going to be monitoring all my heart rates and everything for my warm up.
So TJ will be in your corner for this one.
Yeah, TJ, Cub, Joe Stevenson, and then I also have my manager Tiki Gosen coming out, and Paul Herrera. I've been working with those guys as well, and Paul Herrera and Tiki Gosen are 2 of the best guys. Tiki, I signed with him, and then Paul Herrera, who's another legend in the sport and very good catch wrestling. Been working with him. Just having a good, like I said, having a good group of coaches around me is it's priceless.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, obviously Tiki's a great guy, and I've spoken highly of him in the past. But you mentioned Paul Herrera. That's a throwback, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately for him, they didn't have his weight classes when he grew up, but he dealt with what he had to deal with, and he became a better guy off of it. A great coach, super awesome guy, and everyone I take over there just loves him, loves his style, and we get after it.
Right. Oh, you know what? Shit, man. You mentioned coaching there. I completely forgot to ask you. Tell me about the wrestling program that you've been running at the Treigning Lab. How's that been going?
Yeah, man. We just giving back to the community. We started an elite wrestling program for some of the kids at the Treigning Lab. A lot of parents, because I passion is my wrestling is my passion, and coaching is what I want to get into after I'm done fighting. And already I've had 13 state champions, all 13 kids, got a full ride scholarship to D1 division schools, and it's just something I'm very passionate about. So giving back to the community, sticking with the wrestling community that gave so much to me, and just creating opportunity for those guys. God's blessed me with the opportunity to coach and have wrestling in my life, and I just want to let those kids know that they got a platform to advance in their life as well.
That's a tremendous track record, man. 13 state champs that have gone on full ride scholarships.
Yeah, to D1 schools too. So in
Wow.
California, it's one state champ too. So it says a lot.
Wow, man, that certainly does. And coaching is always a great way to stay sharp, right?
Oh yeah, I've gotten so much better and so much good with positioning with wrestling. From there, it's been awesome. You know, we've been having a guy, Daryl Christian, coming into the training lab. He's a Greco wizard, you know, and he works with our wrestling and just evolving our MMA aspect of wrestling with the Greco, and because that's the future, you know, everyone's stopping takedowns now. It's about going up to the body now and seeing how guys can defend the body, which is almost impossible when we got a guy like Daryl Christian showing us our Greco.
Right, not to mention that standing clinch is so vital in MMA as well. So,
oh yeah,
yeah, very, very wise of you guys to see the trend shifting ahead of time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, listen, Juan, you've been more than generous with your time as always, brother. Let's wrap this thing up. And you know, I know the weight cut and everything else. The fight week is very time consuming. When you visualize the fight playing out, what do you see?
Man, I see me just, you know, overwhelming Jeremy Spoon. You know, I see him wanting to quit or me getting the knockout. You know, either way is going to be feasible for me to do. Like I told you before, I love going 15 minutes because I train so hard for it. I hope it lasts 15 minutes, but I'll take the knockout or the finish if it comes.
Right, can't argue with that, man. It's always good to get out there and get as much time in that cage as you can. But if that finish comes early, you can't argue with it. So.
Yeah, exactly. It took me, you know, two rounds and a few seconds on my last fight with Peralta, and it just came, you know,
right,
just from constant pressure, and that's how I see this fight playing out as well.
Now, will the Spaniard be calling anybody out after the big win on Friday, or just maintaining that you want multiple titles and you're going to drop to 35?
Absolutely. You know, I think one way to go out there and make a noise at 35 is to take out the guy who just took the loudmouth out, you know. And that's Bendejas. You know, he's made a name for himself taking out Gallagher, and I think you know, 35 is very thin, and I think Bendejas is one of the guys that's going to be that'll make the noise to jump in there and get and prove myself for a title fight at 35.
That's a very wise choice, man. Very wise choice. Any interesting walkout plans for this one? Another mask, maybe?
Yeah, no, I left all the toys at home. I want to go in there, you know, clear-minded, and you know, just take it to this guy. Right. I got a lot of crazy feedback from that last one, but you know, it was actually showing love to the working class. You know, they're guys that work with asbestos, and they're a hazard cleaning crew, and you know, there's I love showing that because that's where I come from. I come from the working class. My dad was in construction his whole life. I'd done construction my whole life. I was an electrician, so just showing that those people work just as hard as I do to get where they want to be, you know, to reach their goals and reach their dreams. And those guys work their asses off. So I'm just showing love back to those guys for what you know, what they do, you know.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning it that last time, and hats off to you, man. I mean, obviously in this sport, people start to get some money and they kind of forget that working class where they came from. So it's very important to remember your roots. But
absolutely.
All right, man, listen, we're certainly looking forward to the fight and all your continued success, my friend. You know, we got a lot of love for you over here at bjpenn.com. In conclusion, man, tell all the fans out there why your fight is one they do not want to miss.
Well, I just want to thank you guys first and foremost for everything you guys do for me as well. You know, all my sponsors and everyone that's been supporting me from day one, all my training partners, all my coaches. Thank you guys. And the fans aren't going to want to miss this fight because it's been the best me to date. You know, Cub Swanson, TJ Dillashaw, working with those guys, they let me know, like, hey, man, like, this is the best we've ever sparred against. You know, you're going to go out there, you're going to put on a show, you're going to get a deadly knockout, and you're going to take it to this guy. Just go out there and believe it. So, you know, they want to see a high output with very good technique and a technician go to work. This is the fight to tune in to watch.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Anything you think we missed? Any shout-out, sponsor plugs? The floor is yours, man.
So I got in partnership with this Kingston Coffee. So everyone, all the coffee drinkers that love to drink coffee, go check out my Instagram or my Twitter handler, JRHMMA, and go get yourself some delicious coffee, some of the best coffee out there, Kingston Coffee. I have my own line out, and it's called the Spaniard Brew, and it's going to be out to order. Anyone that wants to go out and place an order, I truly appreciate it, and thanks for all the love.
Wow, man, your own brew of coffee, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Who doesn't drink coffee, you know?
Well, believe it or not, me.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I'm just strange like that, man. I
also
just
drink coffee.
right, yeah, I'm just strange like that. I never got into coffee. But tell me, what that must have, like, how much work went into that to make your own blend?
Oh man, it's the guy Mark Shelton that I paired up with, he are teamed up with, and with his company, he already had it going, and he's a huge fan of MMA, and he got with me, myself, Cub, and TJ, and just started our own lines of our own batch of beans, and so they're out there. Anyone that wants to order some batches of Killer Cub or Killer Shaw or the Spaniard blend, it's up for order.
Awesome, man. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Again, man, always appreciate the time. We'll have to catch up again after the big win on Friday. Thanks, as always, for joining us on short notice, and best of luck in the fight on Friday, brother.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right. You have a good one, buddy.
All right. Take care.
Later. I got to tell you, folks, not only is Juan our buddy, but I truly believe that he is one of the most talented guys in the sport today. Make sure you tune in. Bellator 210 this weekend, this Friday, as a matter of fact, on the Paramount Network. And do Juan a favor. Go buy yourself some coffee. If I was a coffee drinker, I'd go get that Spaniard blend. But since I'm not, I'm going to encourage all of you guys to do so. But let's keep it moving like we always do. BJPenn.com Radio, the fighter's voice. Coming up next, Ray Cooper III. All right, Penn Nation, Hawaii, stand up. Please welcome to the show the Waianae Scrapper, who has been taking the PFL by storm, the man they call Bradda Boy, Ray Cooper III. Thanks for joining us tonight, Ray. How was life on the islands, man?
Oh, it's good. Just out here training, enjoying life right now.
Right, putting in the hard work in the gym on the daily, right?
Yeah, every day, training hard.
How was your Thanksgiving, man?
Good. Just gained a couple pounds, but it was good. Got to eat.
Right, that's the hard part with the holidays, right? You gotta do the double whammy here and try to avoid all the good food for both Thanksgiving and Christmas, right?
Yeah, I really don't need to cut that much weight. I walk around like 180, so it's not too bad for me.
Right. Very good. Well, there's obviously a bunch I wanted to cover with you, man, but let's start with the training camp. We're just over a month away from the biggest fight of your career. How has your camp been going so far?
Good. Just been doing the same thing I've been doing this whole season. Everything's working out, and just training hard every day. I got my brothers that's training with me, and my dad and my cousin, and yeah, it's just really going real well.
Yeah, it's a family affair for you, man. That's something I wanted to get to here in a moment, but what's it like going in the gym and training with all your family members every day? That's got to be a pretty interesting experience.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I trained them since they was young kids. Growing up, I'm the oldest, so when they was wrestling, I trained them, and now they all grew up to be men now, and now they're helping me train, and I also helping them. They later on fight too later on in their life. So
right.
Just trying to help them out, and yeah, it's been awesome. Training family and not train with big gyms. I really think gyms is overrated, and they pull out some funny drama and things that distraction you don't need. So it's awesome to train my family.
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, I mean, they always talk about the camaraderie and the brotherhood between training partners, but when they're your family, at the end of the day, you know for a fact that they've got your best interests in mind.
Yes, family always been on your back, and they always gonna be looking out for you, and that's the only people you can trust when times get really hard, and
right.
Family never goes wrong.
That's the truth, man. That's the truth. Now, you've advanced in this tournament to the final. You're competing for the inaugural PFL welterweight strap against Magomed. Give us your thoughts on the matchup. What kind of challenges does he pose for you?
I feel like he doesn't have anything for me. I'm going to do the same thing I did to him as my previous opponents. I'm going to go at him from the beginning of the round, and I'm going to take him out. I'm going to knock him out maybe in the first round, wherever it goes on the ground, standing up. I can wrestle, I can box, and I feel like he doesn't have anything for me.
Now, you've had one hell of a showing so far in this bracket, which I'd like to get to in a moment, but what do you make of Magomed's path to the final and how he's looked along the way?
I really didn't watch any of his fights, just the times where we fight, I see it in the back. I really don't watch. But this last one that he fought Pablo Kush, he kind of was backing up and kind of just playing his little point fighting game. And I'm into no point fighting. I come there and come for throwdown, tuck my chin, and we're going to swing. Like back in Hawaii, we were just going to scrap, and that's how I come out to be.
Right.
Like how BJ fans used to go out and fight. They just used to come out and fight and scrap. So
that's right, baby, just scrap.
Yeah,
that's the motto.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, it sounds to me like you're not a guy who really studies opponents too much. You're more focused on what you're going to go in there and do.
Yes, more focused on what I'm going to do.
Okay. Now, in your opinion, I mean, obviously, I know you're not studying these guys too much, but is he the toughest matchup in the welterweight division, in your opinion?
No, I think I beat the toughest guy twice already. So,
right,
really
right, exactly.
See any threat from him. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, speaking of tough matchups, you know, your road to this moment, honestly, man, nothing short of sensational. Finished all your opponents, faced arguably one of the best in the world in Jake Shields twice, finished him both times. On top of that, avenging the loss of your father back in 2004. What a story, man. I mean, I can only imagine that you have to be beyond happy with how things have played out so far.
Yes, this is always my goal, to fight Jake Shields. I'm watching him when I was like 11 years old, watching him fight my dad and watching my dad lose, and I knew from that time I was going to fight him. I don't know when, but I'm going to fight him one day. And Ray Sheffer and the PFL gave me that chance, and I'm forever grateful for them and thanking God that He gave me blessed me with this opportunity. And yeah, it's just a real blessing that I got to accomplish one of my goals, but I ain't done yet, and I'm keep climbing the ladder and pushing myself.
Right, of course, definitely not done yet, and still plenty left to accomplish. But you know, it sounds to me like ever since that day at age 11, I mean, this is all a culmination of everything you've been working for your whole life. What was this first fight with Jake? That it sounds like that was really personal for you.
Yeah, it was kind of personal. Watching somebody beat up your dad, it's kind of hurt. It hurt me when I was watching it. So
right,
I was
I
a
can
kid,
only
so I
imagine.
didn't really understand the sport. I just thought somebody beating up my dad, and you know what I mean. So when as I grew older, I knew I had to do things. I had to wrestle. I had to learn, and someday I'll get my opportunity. And Jake is a tough guy. He's one of the best guys in the world, and I think he's one of the best fighters in the world. He beat the welterweight champion that is now. So that makes me the welterweight champion of the UFC.
Right,
but,
right.
Yeah, but Jake beat a lot of tough guys, and he fought GSP, and I am so honored to fight him. And yeah, it was an honor to fight Jake. I watched him when I was growing up, and he's a beast.
Yeah, it almost seems like, you know, storybook at this point, especially if you're able to win this entire thing and take home the belt and $1 million. You know, would you agree with that? I mean, does this all kind of seem surreal to you at all?
Yes, this is my goal from the beginning. When I got into this tournament, I was going to make it to the finals, and this is just my goal, to push myself and fight the best guys. And this is not the end. I'm going to keep going, and after this, after I accomplish and win in the finals, I'm gonna move up in weight if PFL allows it, and I'm going after everybody. I'm gonna fight the best guys in whatever weight. So I'm looking to push myself and just keep going and moving forward.
Now, obviously, $1 million is life-changing, but, you know, what would it mean for you to win that cash prize? You know, what are your plans for the money should you be victorious, you know, in this final?
I was just taking care of my family and taking care of my mom and my dad for everything they did for me throughout the years. I was supposed to go to college and wrestle, and I chose not to. I chose to fight. And it's been tough these last 4 years. I was out of high school and I was supposed to fight. I mean, go to college and wrestle, and my mom did a lot for me, and you know, they put me through school, got me letters from offline schools, and I just like take care of them and give them back everything they did for me and sacrificed for me, and that's the least I can do for my parents, and just take care of them the rest of their life.
Absolutely, man, and what a beautiful story it would be. You know, when the PFL first announced this format, I was very excited for several reasons, but most of all, I was happy to see opportunities for you athletes. You know, a fair shot at a title, a huge payday at the end. You know, I truly think that moving forward, this format could change the game. I'm wondering, would you agree with that? And, you know, give us your thoughts on, you know, what the PFL is trying to accomplish here.
Yeah, I think this is the future of MMA. We're gonna start doing it like how the NFL does it. You know, real professional, not guys running their mouth for get one title shot. It's you fight, you move to the next leg of the bracket, you fight, you move to the next leg of the bracket, and you get to the championships. So it's no politics in this thing. It's just you fight, you win, you move on. Not you talk so much and then you get one fight. And I think the UFC ranking system is totally bullcrap the way they do stuff, and it's not how you really rank people. It's how you do in a tournament, like how college wrestling is. At the end of the year, they go to the national tournament, and whoever wins the national tournament is the champion, and then it resets every year. That's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
So I think we're gonna take over the UFC. This is the future of MMA, and I'm excited for what the PFL has to offer next year. I am hearing more guys are going to be in the tournament, so it's going to be awesome. We're going to change the game, and the fighters are going to get paid well.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. I mean, you had to get through this first season to really see how things shook out, and then you would see a lot more guys come over from other promotions that want to be involved in such a great opportunity. But the other beautiful part of the season format, you get to take some time away from competition, heal up, and focus on getting better, right?
Yeah, we got around like 4 to 5 months of a break, rest your body. Like, you still got to be training for the next season. It's awesome. It's not like you're going to be out for so long, not making any money, and you know what I mean? Some guys in the UFC, they don't fight for like 1 good 8 months or a year. So this is real good how we just take off for 4 months and we're right back in it throughout the season, and it's going to be awesome, bro.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, as we mentioned earlier, you know, we talked a bit about your father, and, you know, I know everybody in the Hawaiian Nation is a scrapper to some degree or another, but what has it been like for you coming from a fighting lineage? You know, I know you mentioned when you watched Jake and your father compete back in 2004, you know, that set the fire for you initially, but did you always feel like you were destined to compete in mixed martial arts?
Yeah, I guess. But I knew I wanted to fight this, so I used to go and watch my dad train, and when I was a kid, watching him train with my dad, my Uncle Ron, John, and watching him fight in Super Brawl, it was just surreal to watch that as a kid, watching the Blaisdell. The Blaisdell was pack house, like how the UFC is now. But back in the day, the Super Bowl was the UFC. And it was just amazing to watch, and I knew I wanted to do that from when I was young. And my dad put me in wrestling, and that's where it started.
Right. So when you were a child, he didn't keep you away from this grueling life of mixed martial arts. You were around it.
Yeah, I would watch him train and stuff. My dad wouldn't fight as much as I fight. He had a job, he had to work and train, so the balancing of the training and then coming home and spending time with us, it was real hard for him. But he had to work, so fighting wasn't his priority. But
right,
just to watch him fight and to fight the best guys. He fought Jake, he fought Hermes Franco, he fought Frank Trigg, plenty good guys, and it was awesome to watch that. And I knew I could do that too, and to fight the best guys. I just wanted to do what my dad did, and I'm living it now. He's my trainer. He's my head coach. He's my manager. He's everything, and it's awesome to have him training me now.
Does it feel like you mentioned there? I mean, back in the day, as far as financially goes, it's rough considering you had to train full time, try to compete against the best in the world, and then have to work full time as well. Do you feel like he's kind of living through you vicariously now, or?
No, not really. I'm the one that asked him to help me and train me for this. He's fine with himself. He worked. He really didn't care about if he fought again. He just worried about taking care of his family. And he'd be working. And when this season came up, I asked him if he could train me, and he said, "Yeah."
Right.
He's the only one that can push me, and nobody else can push me. And my dad is still in shape. He busts me up every day, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
but
man.
It's awesome.
I can only imagine, man. It must be incredibly valuable to have an OG like your pops in your corner as you were coming up. What's the most important advice he's ever given you?
I'm really different from him. It's just he always gets me to calm down. I'm real aggressive when I get in there,
Right.
and I need him to help me calm down and pick my shots. Sometimes I like to just go in there and just scrap. He's my mentor to calm myself down and stuff.
Right.
Keep my heart rate low.
Now, you look to cement the family legacy and accomplish all that your father had dreamed of here. That being said, man, how do you visualize this fight with Magomed playing out? Sorry, he's got a tough name, man. How do you visualize this fight playing out? I know you said you're thinking first round knockout, but realistically, how does it all play out in your head?
I'm gonna right in the bell ring. I'm gonna go right forward. He's gonna back up, and I'm gonna end up catching him. He has nothing for me. His punches is nothing for me, and I can catch him sooner or later, whether it's standing up or on the ground. He can't handle my pressure, and yeah, I think I'm gonna finish him in the first round knockout.
All right, and assuming you get the win, you go into 2019 with a fat stack of cash, a title, and a target on your back for the next season. But it sounds to me like you plan on moving up to compete at 185 for the next season.
Yeah, it could be a option. We got to go talk to Ray Chef with him. And that's what I would like to do. But I think my contract is $270 for this next year. So we'll see. After this fight, we'll talk about it. And I will eventually move up and fight and keep fighting the heavier guys. And it's the only way you can push yourself. You're not going to push yourself fighting small guys. I'm going to fight the best guys, the biggest guys, and the strongest guys.
Hey, man, that only lends itself to the kind of competitor you are, looking to go out there and challenge yourself more and more every time. Listen, man, I can't thank you enough. In conclusion, tell all the fans out there why your fight is one they don't want to miss, and make sure they tune in to this PFL inaugural final for all these titles coming up the end of December.
Yeah, just tune in. It's going to be fireworks on New Year's Eve, and I'm looking forward to watch a knockout. Yeah, I'm going to finish this guy in the first round.
All right, man. Anything you think we missed? Any shout-outs, sponsor plugs? The floor is yours, brother.
All right, I just want to thank my sponsors, Hawaii Finest, and my mom and my dad, my wife, and my auntie Paul and Corey. Thank you, guys. And, thank you.
All right, it was a pleasure to speak with you today, man. I hope we can catch up again after a big win. Have a great rest of your training camp, a great holiday, and best of luck in the fight. Mahalo, brother.
Thanks. Aloha, bro. Thanks, Jason. Shoots.
Have a good one, man. Later. I don't know about you guys, but my takeaway from that interview is that Ray is strictly business. Biggest fight of his life coming up on New Year's Eve. And again, an opportunity to go home with a title and $1 million. That would be truly life-changing for the slugger, Hawaiian scrapper, that is Ray Cooper III. But alas, my friends, let's move on. Let's keep it rolling. BJPenn.com radio, the fighter's voice. Closing things out tonight, Jimmy the Brute Crute. All right, Penn Nation, please welcome to the show undefeated light heavyweight prospect set to make his promotional debut with the UFC this weekend. Joining us from down under, Jimmy the Brute Crute. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us this morning, man. How's it going?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Everything's going really well. Weight cut's on point, still eating heaps, and yeah, man, I got nothing to complain about.
You're ready for battle.
Mate, I was born ready.
Real quick, man, what time is it over there?
Let me have a look. 9:30 a.m.
Right, so just getting your day started. What's on the agenda for today?
So I've got a bit of media to do with the UFC, and I want to get a session, probably do some pads, and just normally fight week I go for heaps of walks and just chill out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, fight week, always the hectic struggle of trying to do all the media and all that stuff, but how was your training camp? How was your training camp leading up to this fight? I'd imagine you're feeling really confident going into this one.
Yeah, training camp was fantastic. Actually, this is the first training camp where I haven't had to work full time, so I was pretty excited about that. And yeah, I was just feeling great, just real positive vibes, and you know, I know I've got a hell of a challenge in front of me, so it just fuels me.
Now, that I know that's always the struggle of up-and-coming guys, trying to find that balance between, you know, putting food on the table and competing and pursuing what you love. What did you do for work?
I was a forklift driver, and then I got into personal training a little bit. But, yeah, now I just train full-time. I was training full-time while working full-time as well, so that was as hectic as. Right.
No time for sleep, right? Well, I gotta say, man, I know out here forklift drivers make some pretty good money. You must have been doing all right, though. Yeah,
I was definitely making a hell of a lot more money than I was fighting. That's for sure.
So, what team are you with out there? Are you on the same team or it's coming out of the same gym rather as Tyson and Ty?
Nah, they're in Sydney. I'm in Melbourne, which is like I don't know how far it is, but it's pretty far. I'm with Team Greco and Stewie's House, which, amazing.
Right. Well, I mean, there's amazing gyms all over the planet, and 9 out of 10 times, some of the ones that people aren't too familiar with always have a room full of killers.
Yeah, exactly.
But you mentioned the weight cut. Now, are you a guy that cuts a lot of weight to make 205, or do you walk around close to fight weight year round?
And I've got 4 kilos to go.
Wow.
Easy. And you know, I'll probably walk around at 102. I used to walk around at 95. But my weigh-in's at 93. So I'm sort of slowly putting on size. People used to tell me to go to middleweight, but I don't care if I'm fighting guys bigger than me. It doesn't bother me. Like, I just use my speed and technique, and hopefully that'll be enough. But yeah, I'm not scared to fight guys bigger than me.
Well, at the same time, we see a lot of success with guys moving up to fight at a more natural weight for them. And I mean, it sounds to me like 205 pounds is very close to your walk-around natural weight. So it sounds to me like you made the right decision.
Yeah, like, look at Rob Whittaker. He was having wins and losses at welterweight, and then as soon as he moves up, he's the champion. Like,
right.
It's crazy. The guy, I don't understand guys that want to friggin' kill themselves to make the weight when, just so you don't have to fight people your own size or a little bit bigger than you. What are you, that much of a pussy? Like.
Right. Well, it's like everybody wants that advantage to be the bigger guy, but at the end of the day, there's so many diminishing returns of cutting all that weight. It's like, why even bother?
Bring it on. I don't care if you're 6'6", I'll still fight you. I don't give a shit.
Now, listen, man, you must be beyond excited to make this UFC debut this weekend and not only finally make that walk to the famed octagon, but to do it in your backyard as well.
Yeah, mate, it's been a dream come true. I decided to do this 10 years ago when I was 12 years old. That was the day I decided I wanted to fight in the UFC when I went back to the change rooms at jiu-jitsu, and the boys were talking about it. So I went home and YouTube UFC, and that moment I was like, that is what I want to do with my life, 100%.
Wow, that's interesting, man. You know, I'll jump ahead here. That was something I wanted to get to in a moment, but since you brought it up, you know, I was wondering if you could give our listeners a bit of a history on your career and your journey so far. When did you first get into martial arts? It sounds to me like you competed in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and at the age of 12, you decided you wanted to be a mixed martial arts fighter.
Yeah, pretty much. I've done martial arts my whole life. I started karate when I was 4, and moved on to judo when I was 8, and did judo for a while. And yeah, I started jiu-jitsu when I was 12, and then I was pretty much begging to start striking for a long time, but my man's pretty switched on with all that stuff. He used to fight when he was younger and stuff, and he wanted me to get a good foundation of grappling first. So that's what we did, and then I started striking when I was about 16 or 17, and then I moved down to Melbourne when I was 18 to train with Sam full time, who is an absolute legend in the world of he was a K1 superstar back in the day, and that's pretty much my whole training career.
Wow, man! So it sounds to me like not only have you been in martial arts for your entire life, but you've got a bit of diversity in all of the disciplines in this game.
Yeah, but I think the most important part is just being able to blend them together, and that's where Sam comes in, because he's fought MMA at a very high level, and we got guys around us that just had so many fights and so many different sports. Everyone's just there to help each other, and we just blend it together really well.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's so important to have that good guidance that of having someone be able to say, no, you probably shouldn't get into striking just yet, and progress into that at the right pace. That's so important for an up and coming guy. But at just 22 years of age, man, you've already gone 7-0. You must have obviously been 8-0. My apologies. You must have been obviously very busy from the beginning of your career. You made your debut at what, 20?
19. Yes, I made my pro debut at 19 against a guy that was 12 and 5. That was fun. We just got after it straight away. I've had 3 fights a year since I started, and I think that's a healthy number. But I think what rushed me up so quick was the fact that I was just willing to fight anyone, and I've never ever turned down a fight. So it paid off and got me to where I wanted to get to a bit quicker than everyone else.
Right. Well, you got to take those opportunities as they come and take those risks, for the big rewards. But who do you admire or look up to in this game? Who are your favorite guys to watch, and who inspires you the most?
I've got to say all the guys I train with, or else I got to get mad. Guys like Daniel Kelly, who I do train with, and Cal Potter, Rob Whitaker. I don't train with Rob, but he's amazing. He's one of my big inspirations. I was a big fan of Sam Greco growing up, and now he's my head coach. I always loved Frankie Edgar, and just guys like that, guys that just show up to punch on.
Right, grinders.
Don't make excuses and just get after it.
Right, tough as nails, grinders, go out there and get to work. Right, absolutely. Now, getting back to this matchup, Paul Craig coming off a sensational comeback victory from back in March. Most people are saying that it was the comeback of the year, and for him to land that triangle choke with a second left in the fight. Give us your thoughts on Paul as an opponent. What kind of challenges he poses to you stylistically?
Yeah, that was a good win. I watched that. I absolutely lost my shit when I saw that. It was amazing. Yeah, I like Paul. I've got nothing but respect, but this is a job, and my job is to go out there and smash his head in for 3 rounds, or until he gets knocked out or subbed. He's got some really, really good jiu-jitsu off his back, especially. I think he's sort of underestimating my grappling, because at the start of my career I was known as a grappler, but now everyone looks at me and they think I'm just a heavy-handed striker. But I've been in jiu-jitsu comps with the best guys in the world and held my own and done well. So I look forward to seeing his face when I sprawl on him and I end up on top of him. But I've got nothing but respect for Paul, and You know, he poses some threats. There's no doubt about it. Anyone at this level poses some threats. I feel like we got a good game plan, and we're just going to go out there and execute it.
Now, seeing a guy come back like that, I'd imagine you're going into this fight prepared to not only scrap it out to the final bell, but also stay sharp to the end as well.
Yeah, I've been through 5-round wars twice now. I've been in 5 rounds. I know I can, and not only 5 rounds, but I've pushed the pace for 5 rounds. You know, people were having a crack at me on Contender because of my output. People don't realise I can keep that pace for 5 rounds, and I have before. So, yeah, I can go 3 rounds, no problem. You know, I know he's going to be dangerous till he's out or till the final bell sounds. I just gotta be on my game and stay focused.
That's a big advantage you have over a lot of guys, right? I mean, most people at your level coming into the UFC, they haven't even gone 5 rounds. Knowing that you can push the pace that long, that's a huge advantage to have, right?
Yeah, it is. And not only, like, I've gone 5 rounds with broken ribs that I did 2 weeks before the fight. Like, it doesn't bother me. If you really want this, you can just put everything aside and go, you know what, F this, I'm going for 5 rounds. I don't care what happens. It doesn't bother me going the distance, finish him in the first, finish him in the second. Whatever presents itself, I'll take.
All right. Now, you mentioned the Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series there. You managed a first-round finish in that. Doesn't get much better than that, right? What was your experience like on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series?
That was crazy, man. I loved it. It was a real different sort of setup, which was really cool. Like, when you walk out, there's no music. There's not much of a crowd. I think there was about 80 people in the crowd, if that. And, like, yeah, it was just a really, really different experience.
Yeah. I know.
Definitely glad I came through there.
Right. I've talked to a lot of guys through there, and they all would agree with you that just that intimate setting is something that's a lot of guys aren't going to be able to experience, you know?
It was like a gym fight. With Dana White, Sean Shelby, and Mick Maynard watching.
Right. So it's like the pressure's there, but it's not so much the limelight. It's a very interesting scenario.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun experience. And Vegas was fun too.
Right, yeah. Can't go wrong in the fight capital of the world, man. Sin City, baby.
Oof. It was bad.
Would you party hardy or get into the gambling a bit too much?
No, I don't gamble, but yeah, we got on it a bit. It was fun.
Smart man. I'm not big on gambling either.
Nah, can't do it.
But getting back to Paul here for a moment, he's 2-2 in the UFC. Has a loss to Tyson Pedro, Khalil Roundtree, both by KO. Was there much that you can take away from those losses that you plan to capitalize on Saturday? Yeah,
I normally just leave that to my coach. He's a mastermind. He'll come up with a game plan, and I'll watch it a few times and pick my own things, and we'll watch it together and sort of run through what we plan to do. There's definitely repetitive stuff he does, and we're just looking to go out there and find the holes that he's had in the past, and you know what, he might have fixed them up. We'll find new ones.
All right. Now, anybody who really follows this sport usually has a keen eye for a guy like yourself. Young, talented, hungry, and, I mean, just speaking with you now, I feel like you've already got the mindset that a lot of guys take years to develop. But all that being said, man, you could probably take this division by storm. I'm sure you'd agree with that.
Yeah, man. I think the UFC want to sort of push me through. I don't mind. You know, if they want to hold me back or push me through, I'm just going to take every fight as it comes. I know I could potentially be in the top 10 within 3 fights. Doesn't bother me. I'm just going to take it as it comes.
Now, I talked to a lot of guys about that, especially out of the Contender Series. You know, sometimes we've seen the UFC push guys a little bit too fast up the rankings, and then, you know, there's some setbacks and so on. It sounds to me like you're not concerned with that at all. You're willing to step in there against the best of the world right now.
Mate, I made my pro debut against a guy that was ranked 5 in the country and was 12-5. My second fight was against a guy that was 7-2 and ranked 3rd in the country. I don't care. I really don't. We're fighters. We're not like all these guys that want to come out and they want to claim they'll fight anyone until it's put pen to paper, and then they want to pull out like pussies, man. I'm not like that. If I say I'll fight anyone, I don't care if they offered me to box Mike Tyson this weekend. I would rock up and fight.
Oh, man. So you're just a really hungry young guy, man.
Man, I love it. I love this sport. I don't do this sport for any other reason than the fact that I love it.
And I'll tell you what, man, I think that's one of the really important parts to a successful career is you hear so many guys talk about their motivations, whether it be money or fame or legacy, the love of the sport, man. And if that's something that leaves you, you're in trouble. But you are passionate about mixed martial arts.
Man, I always have been and I always will be.
Right. Well, it's refreshing to hear that, man. Speaking of fellow countrymen, Tyson Pedro set to fight a legend of the sport in your division against Mauricio Shogun Rua. How do you see that one playing out?
I think Tyson subs him. Or he clips him with a head kick. Tyson's amazing. I've got nothing but respect for Tyson. Talked to him a few times. Never trained together. I wanted to get some rounds in with him for this one, but we were both just too busy. But yeah, I see Tyson finishing him.
Now, and of course, in the main event, we got JDS versus Tai Tuivasa. That ought to be a banger as well. Who you picking?
Oh man, I love JDS. I've been a massive fan of his for years. I love Showdown too. But I think Ty's just too hungry. If JDS shows up like he used to, it'll be a war. If he shows up like he has, not his last few fights, but how he has recently, I think he's in a bit of a trouble.
And you're also taking the very diplomatic approach here, and of course picking your fellow Aussies. So
I'm not biased.
I'm just playing, man. But getting back to your own matchup,
I'm sharing a hotel with them. They'll fucking bash me if I don't.
But getting back to your own matchup, do you feel the pressure to go out there and make a big statement for this debut, or are you more focused on having some fun and kind of relishing in the moment?
I started feeling a bit of pressure about the whole event a few weeks ago, and I sort of sat down with my coach, and he just goes, "Mate, what are you here for?" And it was just good having someone with that experience just to talk me through it. And then I came out of that, and I just thought, well, fuck, I'm here where I want to be. Like, what's the point of thinking about what I can't control? Let's just go out there and fight like we're supposed to.
Right, have some fun and do what, like you've said in this whole interview, do something that you love.
Exactly.
Right. When you visualize this fight playing out, what do you see?
Paul Craig in a lot of trouble. Nah, I just don't see how he's going to beat me. I know it's very, like, I know he's capable of beating anyone in the world, but I'm going to be too switched on and just out of the way of everything he throws, every submission he throws up. I'm just going to be 2 steps ahead of him. And he just thinks I'm coming out there to throw a big overhand right and throw bombs, but there's much more to my fight style and much more to my game plan than people on the outside can see.
Right, so for him, he might just be looking at a guy who's going to come out there and try to knock him out, but in reality, you're very well versed and very well rounded in this game.
Yeah, I'm technical. People don't say it, but I can be technical.
And on top of that, like you said, I mean, pushing that pace that plays a big factor in a fight. So,
yeah, I know he's fit as though. I know he can go 3 rounds, no problem. He's one of those wiry guys that can just go forever. So I know that he's going to be there. I know he's just as fit as me. I think I've got every other advantage though.
Now, assuming you come out of this fight uninjured, have you put any thought to how quickly you'd like to get back in there? And I know you said that.
Feb 10 Melbourne.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Feb 10 Melbourne.
Okay, yeah, all right. So that's a pretty good turnaround. What's that? 2 months? Almost 3 months?
Yeah, it's I got a week of drinking beer and eating food, and then I'm back into it.
I love it, man. Yeah, that obviously that would be perfect for you. But you mentioned that 3 fights a year, that's what you're comfortable with? Is that what you're going to try to go for in 2019, or you're going to try to maybe get 4 in?
I want to get 4 to 5. That'd be amazing. But yeah, probably 3.
Okay.
I'd love to fight 5 times a year.
Right. Got to be conservative, though, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
if you fight everyone, there's no one left to fight.
That's true. And hey, man, when you're out there making big statements like that and making money to do what you love, you also need to take a little time to enjoy it as well. So
exactly.
Now,
so I've got the right guys in my corner to sort of give me a slap under the ear when I start mouthing off too much.
All right, listen, man. In conclusion, tell all the fans out there what they can expect on Fight Night and why your UFC debut is one they do not want to miss.
On Sunday or Saturday in America, you can expect me just to come out there and fight with everything I've got and leave nothing outside the cage. That's all I'll claim. And then whatever Paul Craig can take, he can take, but I don't think he's going to be making it to the last bell.
All right, man. Anything you think we missed? Any shout-outs, sponsor plugs? The floor is yours, man.
Reebok are looking after me real well. Love Reebok. Physio Australia, Nuss Nutrition, Bendigo, and Michelle Reeves helped me with my nutrition heaps, and Don Camillo Cafe for all the free coffee, eh?
Nothing better than that. That's a good sponsor to have, man.
I'm with Sam. He owns Don Camillo's, and he's staring at me with a death stare right now.
All right, listen.
I don't have to wait till Sunday to punch on now.
All right, listen, thanks again for the time today, Jim. Very much looking forward to your debut and what I believe is a very bright future ahead of you in the UFC. Hopefully we can catch up after a big win. Best of luck on what is, for me, Saturday, but Sunday for you, man.
My man, thank you very much, bro. I appreciate having me on.
Yeah, no, always a pleasure. And like I said, man, hopefully we can catch up after a big win, and very much looking forward to it, man. I got to say, just in this conversation, I think a lot of people should have their eyes on you now and get on the train before it leaves the station, you know?
My man.
All right, brother.
Awesome.
Have a good one,
thanks,
man.
man.
Later. Again, as I said earlier, Jimmy certainly is oozing with confidence going into this UFC debut against Paul Craig, who is a very dangerous opponent. So make sure you guys tune in. If you're in the West, if you're in the United States or Europe, this fight is going to be going down on Saturday. Of course, if you're down under, I'm sure you already know this, the fight will be on Sunday. That's UFC Adelaide. But that's it for us, folks. I'm your host, Jay Kinch. This is BJPenn.com Radio, the fighter's voice. On behalf of the whole team, everybody at Team Penn, thank you very much for tuning in. We hope to catch you next week. And make sure you guys follow us on social media, BJPenn.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google+. Set up alerts. Get the news as it breaks. At BJPenn Radio on Twitter as well. Everything you crave from the sport you love of mixed martial arts, BJPenn.com. We have got you covered, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Be on the lookout for another episode dropping sometime next week. But until then, my friends, peace out, everybody.